Yeah.
We are live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 11th session of the Ashen Wastes. Would someone like to tell me what the fuck you were doing? Because I remembered something to do with feathers.
We
Um,
go for it.
I was communing with Bird, and I was encouraging people to take turns poking said birds to see if they could see what the birds were poking.
Mm-hmm. How did that turn out for you?
To be determined. I think I haven't finished casting the spell yet.
Uh-huh. How'd
I
that
think
turn out for the rest of you?
the last thing we did was straight tried to poke it, and you said it didn't work.
Yep.
These birds
And now
are
straight is
not
worse.
messing around.
They are very busy eating the flesh off of the body.
Can we actually see the body?
And see that there's a body. You see that there's a lot of birds. You see that most of the skin and muscle has been torn off. Given the fact that the body isn't stinking, it's probably been a really quick job.
Is it humanoid?
It has 2 legs and 2 arms, and you don't know if it has or had a tail, because a lot of the skin and flesh from the limbs have been ripped off, and all that's really left is what's underneath various bits of armor.
What
But
about the
you do notice
horns?
that those are the armor and clothing, and you notice that those are also being torn to pieces, literally as the birds are biting into it with their sharp beaks and tearing it off the body. It's like watching any really campy zombie movie except birds. You know, there was a movie about that called Birds, I think. Like Birds
Yes.
Attack or something. Yep, that was an old one. But yes, they are eating very, very quickly.
Does it have any horns?
What? The body?
Yeah, like Goro.
You can't tell anything small like that because it's a flock of feathers. You just know that there's arms and legs and a
Oh, right.
torso.
Okay. Back to
Talking
India.
like, when you're throwing bread into a flock of pigeons and then they flock and you don't see the ground beneath them, you just see feathers. It is feathers.
Yeah. Back to you, Omnia.
Is there anything you want to do before the Speak with Animal spell is done?
Nope. I'm just sitting there sharpening my sword. After I failed to get close.
Okay.
Indeed.
So I sit down and finish casting my spell.
Okay.
Um,
Eventually, the kind of devolves and then turns into speech. And you just hear, mine, 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 mine.
It's Nemo all over again.
so which one of you guys want to stop fighting over that, and I can just feed you elsewhere, and you can tell me what's up?
Mine, mine, mine. One bird in particular kind of pokes its head up, turns its head back towards you, tilts it a little bit, and then normally you hear, instead you hear, fuck off! Goes back to eating.
Okay, I'll just eat all this jerky on my own.
A couple of the smaller ones, much tinier ones that were stuck at the edge of this crowd and trying to poke their head in to get a piece, kind of turn. They kind of look back toward the body, and then just a couple of them waddle towards you, kind of give you like one eye, just look you with one eye. Food?
I do have food.
Food? Oh, what kind of food? The meat?
I do have meat.
Oh, meat. Okay.
I'll give
Want the
you
meat?
meat if you tell me what happened.
Happen with what?
How'd that guy get there?
And he gets quiet and looks back. I don't know. We just flew in a few minutes ago. I was at the back. Most of the young ones are at the back. We're not very fast. And as it's talking, its head's kind of bobbing left to right. It's just staring at the jerky. if a dog wagged its tail, but instead the bird's wagging its head.
I thought you guys stay here all the time. Or do you just go looking for food? That's
We
okay.
always go looking for food. We're always hungry. We picked the last ones clean, bones and all.
Hmm. So you didn't see anything at all.
Um,
Just flew in the sky, was dead, no movement, didn't see anybody.
I think for a second. Turns back to one of the other ones. Did you guys see anything? Mommy, mommy, mommy. Not me.
Can I
Ah,
insight check it?
he waddle. Sure, if you want. The one you talk to kind of waddles back. There's the throng of other kids. Kind of hear over the mine, mine, mine. You just hear. Did anyone know what happened? Why this body's here? And then it kind of devolves into more chattering, bird screeches and whatnot. Waddles back a few moments later. Oh, none of the young ones know. We're always in the back. You'd have to ask one of the big boys or, the leader. He's in the middle eating.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for trying, though. And I'll,
Yeah.
give him a piece of jerk.
He kind of jumps a little bit and almost bites your finger as he grabs the jerky. And a couple of other smaller birds come up and try to steal it from him. Oh, it's mine! Fuck off!
So, am I able to identify the specific one he was talking about?
Uh,
I think we met the
nature
leader.
check.
We met the leader before.
Yeah, you talked to the flock leader before, and so you kind of know which one you're looking for. As you look over the massive pile of bird, you do kind of see the leader's very specific kind of marking pattern. A little bit of a differently patterned like head shape, a little bit on the markings there. It's small, but because you saw it before, you kind of know what to look for. So after like a minute, you kind of spot him in the middle of the crowd, literally using his wings to smack other birds in the face so that he can keep eating in peace. They are a fight. They are fighting each other, slapping them with wings and kicking them.
I don't know how big this mound is. What could I as he's batting his reach over and just try to grab one of his wings and pull him out of the pile? Or is he at a short?
You'd have to wade. You'd have to wade into the flock of birds. Would you like to try?
Um, yeah, I wouldn't get more than up
Make
to
a
the top of my boot.
strength check as you kind of wade through the birds and try not to get knocked over.
And
You kind of get three birds in, and then you kind of step down and you feel one of the smaller children kind of fly under your foot real quick. And so you pick up your foot, the lack of balance causes you kind of fall backwards, and then a lot of the birds stop squabbling and they immediately flock over to you and like mine, 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 and they start pecking at your skin.
no,
You take 3
no,
points of piercing damage.
but
Lou sees this and rushes to help Zioda up.
Make a strength check to fight the birds away. You smack the birds left and right.
If I fail, I will retire this motherfucking
Yoda's yelling
Out
at
of
the
character.
bird,
everything,
I'm not food. Fuck off.
out of
20.
everything, Lou is willing to retire over birds. Too humiliating. Yeah, no, you're able to reach down and you kind of grab Siota by because she's wearing two cloaks. So you grab her right where the cloaks kind of meet, and you hoist her up. And and as you're picking her up with your other arm, you swing down along the front of her clothes, and you just cleanly smack four of the bigger birds right off of her. And then as they kind of at you, they kind of look and they realize she's still standing on her own, and they kind of
Fuck off.
waddle back to the pile.
I have a question for the DM. How many creatures Does my vow of
One.
enmity
Vow of
one?
enmity affects one creature per usage.
Okay, then never mind. What about intimidation? Also one creature?
You could attempt to intimidate the flock, but they're currently really focused on the dead body.
What if I use both of them? Like intimidation with vow of.
You want to mark a creature for death?
Never mind, just I'm going to just do it. Never mind.
Tire
No.
your character. Yeah, no, you kind of like try to do like one of those real quick, like just stomp and yell, and they'd maybe you scare off a couple of the smallest runts, but that's it.
Oh,
Okay.
hold on. I have fucking lucky. Never mind again.
Scare off one of the couple of the very outermost birds, but that's it.
All right. I'm burning my animal friendship spell
Ooh.
on the leader.
If the beast's intelligence is 4 or higher, the spell fails. Otherwise, it must succeed on a wisdom save or be charmed. Okay. Convince a beast that you mean. Well, yeah. We'll ignore the flavor. Alright, so you can, against being charmed. That's fun. Oh! Natural one.
Oh,
You reach out to the bird, and it takes a second to, focus the spell because of the flock of feathers. But the moment you get a clear line of sight, you kind of whisper something under your breath and kind of wave your hand towards it. You can feel a kind of connection being formed, just a slight, like a magical rope connecting your mind to its. In that moment, you kind of pull the rope taut. Then the leader stops kicking the shit out of the other birds around it, stops and just kind of looks at you, and you see that that magical connection and the speak with animal spell being active. You're able to recognize that it recognizes you.
Kind of like try to extend my arm and like beckon it to climb onto my arm.
Yeah. He immediately kind of looks at the pile as he's getting jostled, and he's still kind of like subconsciously fighting off the other birds. And he kind of like he's a little huff, and then flaps its wings and flies to you, latches onto your forearm. The other birds, seeing that it leaves, immediately go for what you realize is the face and neck and chest of the individual, and just go nuts.
Do I get a glimpse of the individual at all?
There is no skin left. There is meat and blood and bone.
Do I see like any remnants of armor or anything like
There,
that?
whatever remnants of clothing are left are pretty heavily covered with blood or being torn apart. You can make a perception check to see if you can catch any glimpses, but it's going to be very hard.
19.
Yeah, I don't know. In that moment, as the little gap the leader made when it flew up, and there's a tiny gap, you do see that there's the leftover of what might be metal armor, or perhaps just a really well ornate type of leather. It's hard to tell because again, it's covered with shiny blood. Um, as the beaks and the claws kind of scratch it, you do notice that they don't seem to like bite all the way through. They kind of hold with their beaks and then just tear chunks off, or they just nip around certain areas. And so you see like it's not like a clean rip open of the whatever that is. Like there's parts of it where it's just a tear, or like a circular cut has been made, or just a really jagged like when you get a plastic wrapper on something and you try to take it off, and so you try to slowly tear it, and instead of getting a straight line you get a really jagged tear instead. It's like that. So it's seems tough enough to be protection, but it's not tough enough against a lot of really, really determined birds.
Nick was here, I'd have him. Well, hmm.
Uh, did she see any kind of crest or any racial features like
What I
horns?
said was what I said. You would have to, if you wanted to find out any more, you would have to get the thing. You would have to probably fix it, and then you would have to clean it because it is soaked with blood.
So, uh, Vulture Buddy, um, could you tell everybody to back off for just like a second? Just like 2 seconds. Because I want to get that out. I want to get some of that junk out of the way so you guys can eat it a little bit better.
We're trying to help, buddy.
That's
Fine.
getting in the way. It's gonna give you indigestion.
Fine. And kind of turns to the others. And it doesn't translate as a word, it's just screech. Uh, hold on. Ask me a question. Okay. Um, that screech, a lot of the birds all kind of stiffen up. They just slowly turn, and they see the leader perched on your arm. And then he does another just screech and flap of his wings. And they all kind of argue. For just a second, you hear just like various curses and whatnot as they argue. And he screeches one more time, and they kind of waddle away, giving you open access to this body as you kind of take a step forward. All the birds, as they step back, you see the reluctance and the quiet that sets in. It's kind of eerie. But as you step forward with the leader on your arm, they all look confused. And they have another emotion. It's just really hard to place because you're not. You've seen them before, but you haven't experienced the full range of their emotions, so you have no idea what it is that they're looking at you with.
Sioda, do you want me to take off the armor?
Yeah. There was some. It looked like metal in there. I'd probably
Um,
give it a look at. If that's okay.
okay. I will go out and try to strip all the armor off.
Okay, you like I said, as you reach the body, there's no more facial features. There's no more. It's just like you can see pieces of bone shining through large holes and tears in the, actual flesh. Is pretty much shredded very well. There's still chunks of it that are kind of intact, but it's just looking at it as it is now. There's no way you can tell anything specific here. So, stripping the body of the armor is actually pretty easy. They've especially, you can tell the birds know what they're doing to an extent because the parts of the armor directly around like the shoulder and the armpit and the rib cage are the most heavily ripped. So it's actually really easy to kind of slip that chunk of armor off and just kind of lift the arms and slide the piece of equipment off, and then you can actually see right underneath, covered in blood, but just a couple pieces of untouched skin, directly like in the stomach area, especially, or just like where the rib cage meets the stomach. Well, where the false ribs are in that area. That is a little easier to tell. Like you can actually see skin.
What color is the skin?
Uh, the skin seems to be there's a bit of reddish coming from the dried blood, but there looks like a vaguely darker brown kind of skin tone. You also notice a couple really weird like rough patches on the body. But they're
Uh,
covered with the blood, so it's like that same reddish coloration. But you do notice a couple like weirdly textured parts around again, directly where the ribs are. The skin there, there's like a couple like bumpier patches almost. And then on the stomach area, there's that same kind of like smooth and weird texture on top of the skin.
Would I be able to discern if this is like a disease that this person may have had or exposure to like poison or anything like that?
If you would like to get close, you could make a medicine check. From a
How would that?
distance, from a distance, Blue's body is covering this, and if you like moved around him to look, you would kind of see what looked to be weird patches. But if you want to actually figure it out, you would need to, get close, kind of clean the wound a little bit and investigate that. It's a medicine
I
check.
I would do that, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a dead body. You can't really tell you what it's feeling.
Do you
For
want
a
me to?
moment.
Hold on. I wanted to say, do you want me to help, or do you want me to help? Do you want to help me?
I'd say it's normally you should say it before
But
Yeah.
he just
before the
did
roll
it.
happens.
She just did it before I
But
could say anything.
for the sake of like, you've never seen that before, so you would actually point it out to her because you're the one like closest to it. Yeah, that would count as help. You like remove the armor and you kind of cross the other forward and you see these weird bumps. See that it's kind of look at it and you kind of flick through your head of like what little you know of diseases because you don't really suffer too many of them as a druid. You have a very natural kind of resistance, not immunity, but just a natural resistance to most things, or at least you know what to avoid so that you don't get diseases as often. You've never seen anything like this.
What about
But
Lou?
as you no, you don't. As you
Uh,
kind of like get closer to the body and kind of like maybe put a hand on it. Uh, hold on. You notice the texture is the bumpy texture. It's kind of smooth to the touch, and it because the stickiness of the blood is kind of throwing off your sense, but you get the feeling just for a moment that this feels it's more akin to like scales.
Would I be able to like just looking at the anatomy of this creature be able to tell the racial aspects of it?
That no, there's too much of it is very much wrecked. You
can I
could look
do
at the
something?
teeth, and if you kind of open, you can see the open mouth. There's the teeth appear fine, like a average for a humanoid kind of fine. There's no eyes; those were plucked out. So it's
Can I
really
do
all you have to go
something?
on. What'd you like to do?
Uh, First off, I like to clean one of the patches of skin. Then
Mm-hmm.
I am going to draw the mark of Bahamut with his own blood and do like a half prayer for his guidance to afterlife and half question to Bahamut if this creature, what this creature is and how he died. So religion,
Yeah, you could try to make a religion check.
I'm kind of curious if
religion.
there like a difference in the dental work of like a like a dragonborn and a humanoid or
They have
Yeah,
fangs, I
human.
think.
Okay.
yeah. Dragonborn are more like animalistic sort of teeth.
Mm,
Most humanoid teeth have that,
bluntness.
most human teeth have like a bluntness and then canines. Uh,
So this creature
dwarves
wouldn't
are more
be
blunt than
dragonborn.
sharp. Yeah.
Okay.
Dragonborn are very much like almost entirely sharp, feral teeth. Much smaller. Well, for the most part, it's much smaller teeth, like a lizard. So yeah, no, this is definitely not one of those. For Lou, you kind of pray to your god, and you feel like kind of like, what the hell is going on? And you just kind of ask, it's like, hey. Do you have anything for me? Kind of thing, you know? Because it's hard to ask a question when you're just kind of, hey, look, here's a thing. What is this? Especially because, God don't usually give direct answers all the time. So you pray, ask a quick question. You don't sense anything. You don't feel different. Nothing really stands out.
Okay, then I just pray for his guidance to afterlife.
Gotta get out of these birds' way a little bit quick.
Mm-mm.
I just quickly strip off the rest of the armor.
Okay. So as you back away and the birds immediately kind of like tentatively look at each other and take a step forward, then after nothing happens, they flock towards the body and immediately resume the chorus of mine, mine, mine. What do you want to do? I think you have the leader on your arm.
So, would you be able to tell me exactly what all happened? I assumed you were leading the flock.
He looks at the body, very disappointed that it's not getting the feast that it wants. And he goes, "We were, hold on, we were flying for a couple days, and then we came back, and their body was here. Yes, there were a couple others. We didn't see anything special. To you, two-leggers look the same.
So you didn't see anybody come through here at all?
Not come through, but we did see them leave when we came to the body."
Who? Well, do you know like what kind of how many people? Just one?
Mm, there were maybe two walking, couple four legs, and then one of those really big ones. They don't really walk, like you do. They kind of like roll around on the ground. Big.
Was it black and fluffy?
Delta said it was like one of those. And kind of like points its beak towards one of the houses, but it had these roly bits, or,
Oh,
or never came
Yeah,
off the ground. They just kind of moved along.
it's
a
a
wagon.
caravan.
Caravan, yeah.
Whatever.
Hmm. Do you
What
have
did
any
you?
other questions for it? He said that there was a group of people who left. They
Mm-hmm.
saw a group of people leaving with a caravan um from here. And
How long ago?
they how long ago? And could I cast guidance on the bird if he seems to like have moments to like think?
Sure, you can cast guidance on the burb.
I
Might
hail.
need it. um, looks up at the sun. It's about midday, so the sun's like right up ahead. Uh, so a little more that way. And he kind of points in a roughly western direction. Oh, sorry, roughly eastern direction.
No, when, not where.
So a few hours ago. The sun was
Eh,
further east.
Oh,
yeah.
he's pointing to the sun location when they found it. Okay. Uh, a few hours ago. Where did they come from, or where did they go from? Maybe we can pick up the tracks.
Hmm. Yeah. You didn't see where they were coming from, did you? Or
And thinks for another moment, and then kind of flies off your arm and goes back to one of the taller bits of broken building, lands on top, and kind of like looks one way, looks the other, looks one way, looks the other, then flies up really high and starts like doing a really lazy circle around village. And then after a few, like about half a minute, flies back down to you. That way. And it points in a west direction.
Is that toward the keep?
not towards Anfaros. Anfaros is northeast-ish.
So not from the keep.
If it's west, then I remember that'd be like a really long way from any like noticeable places, isn't it?
I think that's where Kevan is, right? Anyways, I don't have any more question for the bear guy. Let's just let him go eat. We can pick up the trail.
Yeah. Only last question is
Thanks for a moment. Well, other than you, last time, I think it's fine. I haven't heard anything weird.
thank you for your time, and I'll give him like a good chunk of like jerky for my rations.
Looks at it for a second, confusion, and kind of takes it from your finger again, almost biting your finger. The same enthusiasm as one of the children. Ooh, not bad. A little chewy.
Hopefully, it's a little bit worth it.
That's good. And finishes the food and flies down to the body and immediately starts punching and kicking other birds out of the way so it can go back to eat. You hear, you fuckers at the throat!
So it'd be safe here to camp for tonight if that's what we're doing. I cause of death is unknown, I guess.
Dude.
Okay.
I can make theories up, but
Hold on. Do you have mend? Is your mend up?
I can repair things, yeah.
Okay. Is there any kind of water around? Question for the
Not
DM.
immediately around here. You noticed this before. As you say this, you kind of look around and you find that the armor seems to be missing. And you look around and you see Meshuda kind of in the back, just kind of holding the piece of armor in her
Fucking
hands and just kind
shit.
of examining it.
Mashida, do you really have to just ask before taking things? You know? That's polite.
She shrugs. You were busy with the birds.
Does it read as magical at all?
Not to Meshuda, it doesn't.
Mashida, do you have any kind of like water on you? Can you clean that?
Well, I have a water skin.
I don't want you to
Oh.
use it. I say just very quietly to Sioda.
What was the last long rest you guys had?
Uh,
They say you
la-
had one after the wolf fight.
I know we did have one after the wolf
yeah,
fight. I think we had a pit stop.
yeah, we had one
Going to be our
on.
second stop. We were
Yes.
taking two stops on the way back to Anfrost.
Right. Okay. As you say this, Meshuda puts the armor down on the ground, puts her hands kind of around it, and you see magic gathering around her hands as she begins to cast mending.
Do you want to clean it first, maybe?
I mean, clean it and then repair it, or repair it and then clean it. It's all the same.
Doesn't
I'll
get doesn't it get affected by the blood?
I'm not repairing a body, I'm just repairing armor.
Okay, do your thing then.
Sienna would come up and cast mending on the armor wherever there's like holes or tears.
The two of you, because it takes a minute to cast the spell, so the two of you working on the same, like, chest piece, upper torso bit of armor, takes, a minute passes and you get the vast majority of it pretty much fixed. There's a couple patches missing where, it's kind of torn, flung up here and there.
When it's done, I'm just gonna go take the armor and first off, I am going to take something like a file of glass or a handkerchief or anything to take a bit of the blood, like a sample of the blood. And then I am going to look at the craftsmanship and any kind of like crest or signature like
You could
structure.
you could make an investigation check with disadvantage because, like, again, soaked with blood. A lot of the blood's
No,
already
I'm
kind of like the lowest
after
layers already kind of kicked on.
after I just take a sample of blood, I'm going to clean it. I'm not gonna start investigating
Oh,
it
okay.
with blood.
So yeah, the cleaning. uh, I mean, they're done mending before you're even done cleaning a bit of it. Every time you take a rag to the thing, the rag gets soaked through.
Hold on a second. I think. Do I have that spell?
You do not have
Acidification.
cantrips.
No, no,
Paladins
no.
don't get cantrips.
I'm talking about.
Acidification would clean it.
No, I don't have prestidigitation, but I have create food and water.
It's water. You just create food for the vultures.
Technically, it's not meat.
It's 45 pounds of food, 30 gallons of water.
Oh, well, I guess technically speaking, it could be anything. It just has to be bland and edible.
So
I don't think
um,
vultures are picky.
I
Well,
make
because it's meat.
I make 45 pounds of meat and 30 gallons of water. Do they come in containers or
It says they on the ground. Well, no, on the ground, or in containers within range.
uh
Like a hole.
so before that we just go around and find any kind of buckets, barrels, things like that
I
for
mean,
the
you
water.
have large containers.
We have water skins.
Oh, you have containers. You have flail snail shells.
All right. So I'm just gonna create water in them. But before that, we just take stuff out of them so they don't get
Mm-hmm.
wet.
It's a bit of slow going just because you don't want to damage the shells, and they are kind of heavy and you are kind of small. So it's a little bit, uncomfortable to lift something that high up for you, but you manage it. You notice that probably two shells, if you can get them like perfectly stable, would probably be able to hold 30 gallons of water pretty easily. Meshula asks if Lou would let her help clean the armor.
Uh, that's going to be a negative because I don't like hair. Uh, also, is the ground sandy? Or is it stone?
Yes, it is largely dirt and ash and blood.
Okay, so I make like a hole. I'm assuming the shells have like a oval shape.
They're like hermit crab shell. They're
Uh,
very conical, and they're not perfect, circles or whatever. They're very cone shaped and kind of awkward.
but if I dig like a hole, I can stabilize them.
Yeah. That would take you another couple minutes. So as you kind of slowly dig big enough hole, and then you shove one of the shells into the hole. So now it is like maybe a third of the way in, but it seems stable enough to not immediately tip over.
I
Are
mean,
we
Mishuda can help with this if he wants. She wants with the digging.
Yeah, so the two of you can at least get the digging done.
And
are we
after that,
doing
I'm
a
gonna cast it.
okay.
I'm sorry, the Omnia want something?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Lou, are we planning to camp here for the night? We are, right?
Uh, yeah, I believe that's going to be safer than just traveling. It's about midday, right?
Yep. A little
Yeah,
past now as you've been interrogating birds and digging ditches.
yeah, we're definitely going to make camp because we have to go look for the tracks. We have to clean this. It's gonna take time. Yeah, I think it's better if we camp here for the night.
Okay.
Do you want to set up camp?
We have that little house hut thing that we reinforced a little bit. I reinforced a little bit when we were down here last time.
Take straights and go there. Maybe it's damaged again or there is something in there. I don't want anyone to go anywhere in the Ashen Wains alone. So take straights and go check it out, please. If it's not trouble.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, then come back when you're done. We probably gonna
Mhm.
take a bit for
Uh,
this.
Make sure Nick sent you a message immediately before you had said you would let her dig the hole in the main
Uh,
chat.
okay, let me see. Oh, come on, let me help. Like you said, I'm your president, right? She says, smiling. Then I will use her as like a manual labor slave. Dig the hole.
Dig the hole digger.
Oh boy.
We're going there, right? Okay, after the digging is done and the shells are stable, and I'm sure they don't
Well, I
get
mean, respond
damaged.
respond to Nick so that they know what you're doing.
But he's not in the chat.
No, he's in the chat, not the voice chat.
Chat.
Yeah.
Uh,
Keep him in
you,
the loop.
you can dig a hole for the shells. Okay, after I'm done, me and Michelle are done, I am going to cast, create food and water, make all of the food meat, and water in the containers we have.
All right. You, you know, get that everything set up, cast a spell, and immediately 45 pounds of mostly grain, like breads, a little bit of meat. You kind of specify like a little bit more meat. So there's like a good maybe 15 pounds of meat, vaguely dried food.
Can I just specify all of it meat?
I mean, if you'd like, sure. 45 pounds of meat.
Just
Very
yes.
bland, edible, but bland meat. flops to the ground. You a couple, mostly the kids, look at the big ones and then look back and quickly waddle towards the pile of meat and begin to help themselves to fat, thick slices of the stuff. And the shells fill up almost to the brim with the water, but manage to hold. The two of them manage to hold.
I make a whistle sound. Is Yoda left already?
I assumed so.
So I make a whistle
Yeah.
sound and throw one of the pieces of meat at the crowd gathering at the body.
Make roll a d20 for me.
Not hitting them, just
Roll a d20 for me. Because there's
uh,
a whole bunch of them.
not. I'm trying to not hit them. I'm gonna
Hey, you
hit them.
managed to not hit them. You
Oh,
throw it, and one the bird that's closest to kind of gets hit by the leader, and it kind of spins around slightly. And tucks its neck in as it sees the meat flying towards it, and immediately kind of and flies backwards so that the meat just kind of lands right where it was. And
it's
kind of all the
meat.
birds immediately stop what they're doing and then just look at this chunk of meat. And they look over in your direction,
I point at the meat.
and then they look at the pile of meat on the mat that you point at, and they look at the body, and then about half of them stay with like a third of them stay with the mostly eaten body. 10 of them try to fight over the piece of meat that you threw, and then the vast majority of them rush over to the mat, and you hear the children squawking indignantly as their food is being devoured.
I am going to go to the body and try to shoo away the birds and point them to the meat so we can just preserve the body as much as we can.
Make an make an animal handling check.
Animal handling check. This is going to be horrible.
Time to retire the character, I guess.
Yeah. 14.
You managed to
Thank.
get a few of them's attention. Uh, Most of them are kind of like, and they just go back to eating. But a couple of them, especially the ones that are the most heavily battered by the leader, kind of give up and just fly over to the pile of meat and immediately grab a few loose pieces before running or waddling away with them hanging from their mouths.
How
So
many?
right now there's about maybe 12, like 12 birds, including the leader.
Does the leader
But
understand me?
they're mostly eating what's left of the face and the neck. There's like two of them nibbling at the feet and legs. They're also covered by boots, so they're actually trying to pull the boots off.
Can I do an intimidation?
Go for it.
Please be better this time.
Charisma. Come on, this is your best stat.
13.
Manage to scare them off. You do another roar and you kind of yell a bit louder, and you startle a few of the birds so that they actually kind of like flap away really quickly. And by the time they realize what happens, they turn back and they realize that the best pickings are gone, so they kind of just fly dejectedly back to the pile. There's now 4 of them, including the leader, and they're just focusing on the face right now.
If I move the body, does it fall apart?
Would you like to?
Can I do a medicine check to see if I move it, it will fall apart?
If you'd like, sure.
I do not want this man to be buried in 2 separate pieces.
I have to send Potter home in a matchbox.
9.
It's freshly dead. There's still chunks of meat left to it, so it probably hold together at least a little bit, unless unless you decide to swing it like a baseball bat, maybe.
I will try to gently move it to where the others we put our stuff in.
You drag the body towards the building you had previously used as a shelter. The four birds are struggling to stay on, using their wings to try to keep balance, and they're like actively fighting with the motion to stay on the body. But they other than that, they are able to eat.
Hey, Sioda, can you tell these motherfuckers to get off the body so I can bury it?
Is Suyoda near?
I'm coming to you after I'm at
Oh,
the building we used
okay.
to camp.
Uh, yeah,
I,
probably.
I made meat for them. There's 45 pounds of it.
Oh yeah, no,
They probably haven't eaten in several days.
they've
A lot.
eaten almost half of the 45 pounds of food already.
I mean, that's enough for 13 people. They can
15 people.
15 people. It should be enough for them to just have the best days of their life in from the meat. So just leave the poor guy alone or gal. I don't know.
The bloody pulp flesh bag.
And also, I leave Mishuda to clean the armor.
Let's see. It's the for measure the sake. It is very slow going cleaning this armor. It's very caked on blood. The heat. It's not hot, but the heat of the sun and the land is enough to help a lot of it dry out. So Mesha is currently kind of fighting with it to clean, a meaningful chunk off.
Can it can can't she just dunk the armor in one of the
Oh yeah, no. She's dunking it and she's scrubbing it, and it's just very hard to clean. Cleaning cleaning blood off of fabric is hard. Cleaning a lot of blood is even harder, especially when it's caked on. It's not easy.
is it fabric or metal or metal?
There's bits of both. You do see like now bits of metal are shining through, but bits. And as she's scrubbing it, like it's like again really slow going. But even with the bits that are exposed in the sunlight, you don't really see any symbols yet.
As she is doing that, I am going to dig a grave deep enough so the bears won't dig it out and place the body in it and mark it with a piece of wood with the Bahamut's marking and say another prayer for safe passage to the afterlife.
Okay. All right, you do that. What else would you all like to do as Meshuda and Straight kind of did a quick run through of the building? The bird poop. A little bit more than last time. It seems that the birds might have used the shelter since you left. A little bit. Not caked on, but there's a bit of a smell.
Um, I think like shortly after we like established that the hut was in like good-ish condition, Siota would have started casting plant growth
Hmm.
like over the 8-hour period to try to enrich the land a little bit.
Okay. Roll the spell first.
Please measure template. We'll skip that.
Make make a nature check. You're not a wizard. You're a druid.
Oh,
18.
This is the calling of your people, druids.
DM, did you cut off?
As you begin to cast the spell, you feel the land resist. You try to push, you try to encourage vitality in the earth, and you're reminded why people call it the Ashen Wastes. There is no life, there is no vitality left for it to give. So you're trying to coax. It's like squeezing water out of a rock. You try to coax it, you try to force it, you try to twist your magic in different ways to encourage something. Nothing happens. Then you realize that instead of channeling your magic through the earth to help it grow, you will have to sacrifice a little bit of yourself. It needs vitality. It needs something more than just your magic. Get started. Spell's not lost yet, but you know you need to give something a little bit more if you want this to work.
Would I be able to would it be like a vitality thing from my body, or would it be energy? Would I know?
You know that it lacks vitality. Your magic is not enough.
Does blood sacrifice suffice?
That's what I might. Sierra would try that. She was going to cut her hand and push it into the earth
Okay.
and see if that helps.
Make a constitution saving throw. Ooh.
That's a nope.
It's not a no. Plant growth is a half-mile radius when you cast as an 8-hour thing. You feel a pull, not just of your magic, but from your hand as the earth. Your magic isn't you. It's given to you by the planet itself. It's a nature-based magic. When you give it to the planet to try to enrich the growth of plants, to try to force new life to grow, it's like drawing on a well of power, but that's not coming from you specifically. Like you can feel like you're gathering power from a different source, redirecting it into the land around you. The new pull you feel comes from your palm, and you feel like your entire body is connected to the earth more deeply than before. You feel a very you feel closer now than you've ever felt. Your preferred terrain as who you are is underdark. Your circle of druid is underdark. That is your home. That is the place you feel most attuned and connected to. This connection you just put with your blood sacrifice onto the earth, you feel even a more close, intimate connection. Like you can feel that entire half-mile radius in your awareness spread out. You can feel the earth cracked and dry and dead, and you feel it's like your entire body just painful, aching thirst. And as it begins to drink and slowly siphon your blood and your life essence, you feel that thirst kind of abate just a little bit, pull away just a little bit. As you begin to push magic and you give it more of yourself, you feel that connection increase it more and more. And Lou, you're still outside and you're slowly dragging the body, right? Because you're trying not to, damage it more. So you're slowly dragging the body, and a miracle happens. For the first time, you watch as little plants, little sprouts of grass and other prettier things that you don't know the name of, and to slowly push out from the earth all around you and in between the houses, and even from the houses themselves, because they're made of earth. They're made of like a brick type substance, but less heavily packed. Greenery begins to spread out like the waves rushing over the shore on the beach, beginning to slowly push outwards, farther and farther until you can't see past the houses. You can't see if they're extending beyond your vision because their houses are blocking the rest of your vision. But you see green, just a bit of green everywhere.
Hey, Sioda, is that you're doing? I look at Sioda. Is
You're
she?
not in the house yet. Not in the house yet. You don't
Uh,
hear a response.
so I just go into the house and say, Sioda, is that yours? You're doing? And
You
does
find Siotha face first on the ground, unconscious.
uh
I
I
rolled
mean
very high.
I
She is
am.
knocked out.
Is she unconscious? Never mind. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna do like 50 points of lay on hands, like all of it in her.
You bring her back to 50 HP. That knocked her out completely because I rolled really high.
Hey, 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 hey! Are you okay? Talk to me. What's going on?
Fuck. Um, I'm fine. Um, I just tried something and I don't know if it worked.
I just take out my water skin and just here, just drink a bit.
um, as you kind of come back to consciousness, you look not even knowing that you fell unconscious. It was just you felt that pull and that connection, and then Lou woke you up. It was very seamless. As you begin to sit up, you put your hand on the ground. You feel something soft. You look. You kind of lift your hand slightly, and you look, and you find just a little patch of moss and grass underneath your palm. You see greenery all throughout the inside of this building. You see uh, little green stalks with red arrays of leaves, or some with white, some with purple in different shapes and patterns. I don't know the name of these things, but they're very beautiful and they smell oddly sweet.
After she's done drinking, I'm just gonna pick her up and put her over my shoulders, like when you carry a
Sack of
kid.
potatoes.
No, no, no. When you carry a kid, like the legs are on your shoulders, and then just take her
You're
outside.
you're like
Just
boneless. You're like boneless right now as he picks you up, and you don't even have like the strength to kind of resist. You're just kind of picked up, put on his shoulders, and he holds like puts his hands like behind your back, interlocks his fingers behind your back so you don't fall, and just kind of walks out of the building, and you just see the greenery spreading out. You just see the walls of the buildings just lightly, not as heavily. Inside the shelter, it's packed with green and colors. Here, it's just very light patches. They're everywhere.
you are pretty amazing. Do you know that?
I think this land is capable of being amazing.
Yeah, but we really need people like you that give something for that to happen. You know, this land is like this because of us, because of the sins of our fathers. We made it this way, so it's our responsibility to make it better, heal it. But there are still people that think like our fathers and just take and take and take and just never give anything back. And I hate that. So to see someone capable of giving back as far as giving their life force, that's pretty amazing. It's refreshing actually.
I mean, that's how nature's always been. You have to give it what it needs, and it tends to provide for you in some way. And it can be dangerous, and it can provide you things that you didn't necessarily ask for, but it can provide you things that you didn't know you needed. And that's how it's always been for me. So I've never been up here. I didn't know it was this. I thought it was colorless in the caves, but I think I prefer blacks and grays to beige and brown.
I don't think even I don't think even you can call it beige and brown. It's like there's no color. It's dead. Every time I use my powers to detect something, it's like there is a sensation of burning all over my body because the whole land is desecrated, and I can actually feel this patch of uh, greenery that you made. It healed the land. It made it undesecrated, if that's a word. I'm dumb, so as you can guess, kind of. I'm just good at fighting. So seeing someone do something for the others, other than killing monsters, yeah, you had my respect, but you have my absolute loyalty from now on. Do you want to? Do you want me to put you down, or are
Yes, please.
you okay?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. I will gently put her down, but I just keep my hand on her back. So if she wobbles or something, I can hold her from falling over.
She's very stubbornly trying to not look weak right now.
Very difficult thing to do, but you do it admirably.
Just trying her best.
I mean, you just gave a lot to the land, and like you said, nature provides. So if you need help, don't be stubborn. Ask for it. Think think of me as like son of the land, because we dwarves are known as children of the stone. So you gave something back to nature. Think me of as one of the children of the land helping you out in return.
Don't you have like Mashuda or something to mess with?
She can wait. You're more important than her.
Oh my.
Don't tell her you said it.
Wait, what?
Don't tell her you said that. She get upset.
Yeah. She's probably just eavesdropping right now. I I don't know what goes inside that head of hers, but
Curiosity.
too much of it. Like she hasn't heard of like curiosity kill the cat.
Sorry, what?
Curiosity killed the cat.
Ah, yes.
I mean, there. I'm a very curious person myself, but you have to have a sense of danger, or otherwise you're gonna get killed pretty soon. Anyways, do you want to take a sit? Enjoy this a bit? Because has the air gotten better?
No. I
Just
am kidding. It actually has. Just a little bit. The air is sweeter. When you were at the beach, the air was sweet because the wind coming in was from beyond your shores. It was different and it was clean. And it had a little bit of that saltiness to it because, ocean. Here it's light fragrance, just, just a tiny bit sweet perfume that's hard to place. A natural kind of, you breathe in and you just feel gentle. It's
do
not
you,
bad. It's quite nice.
do you want to maybe sit down, enjoy the weather, maybe uh, catch your breath, then we can go back. There's no rush.
We left the house, right? Am I like
Yeah,
like
we
down the
are.
street?
Yeah,
Um, I assume like glancing around, I see like flowers and sprouts and things starting to pop up. Um, she'd probably just walk over to one of them, having never like encountered a plant like that before, and just sit down next to it, that little patch, and just inspect it. Not really
Mhm.
like plucking it, just like feel the leaf of it and stuff. Um,
The specifically again?
if there's like a little patch of like a flower or a sprout, I don't know how fast they're coming up. Um,
Very slowly. The one that catches your eye immediately. What's your favorite color? Is Ciola's favorite color, or your favorite color if you haven't thought that far through? Because most people don't.
Fiona's used to everything being in shades of gray and black. I
so
feel like
black.
her favorite color would be lavender, like a light purple lavender, because I think that's the
Hmm.
color of the stripes on her spider's abdomens.
As you kind of sit down and reach towards a couple of these, you and you reach your hand forward. You notice that the little cut on your hand you made is healed up, but you still notice just a very thin line mark. As you reach down to the flower, your hand gets closer. You feel just a gentle warmness along that line. The flower immediately starts to slowly grow a little bit more, and you notice a couple others, like in a cluster, begin to grow together. And you see a kind of opening up group of about four orchids, lavender orchids.
Is
I
the
think I'll sit here for a little bit. I'll be alright.
okay? Uh, I don't. Is the body around? I will look at the body. Is the body getting decomposed faster, or do I still need to
It's the
bury
same
it?
as you left it. It's just there's now in the bits of hole where bits of its body are missing. There's little the grass and flower kind of gently poking through.
I will look at.
It's not growing on the body. It's just in the empty spaces where body used to be. There's exposed earth. There's little plants poking through.
I look at the Sioda and say, "Say Sioda, Do you think I can maybe dig up a patch of this grass to bury that body, or do we just do I just leave it for the nature to take this course?
I mean, I would leave it. That's what I would do. I don't
I
really
mean,
know why
you
you would.
made this greenery, so I'm just asking you what you're comfortable with because I don't want to disturb it if you don't want me to.
I mean, why would you bury it though?
It's something that most people do to show respect to the dead.
There is That's not something I ever like encountered before.
I understand.
Where I came from, it was mostly like when somebody died, they were dinner, and you didn't really think about it after that.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I'm asking you and explain this to you. In most of the keeps and where the people are, when someone dies, they are either burned and their ashes given to their loved ones or scattered somewhere that they specified, or they are buried underground so they can uh, go back to the earth, but somewhere that is marked with their name, so their loved ones can come and uh, maybe talk to them, say prayer to them, so the loved ones know there is this place they can go and be reminded of them. But still, this guy is not important to me, not important to you. We don't know him or her. I'm totally fine with it. Just leaving it out here because at the rate the grass and this foliage is growing is gonna take over the body in about 2 weeks to a month. So it will be buried by nature, but if it's okay with you, I would like to bury it or at least mark where he's laying.
You can do whatever you want with him.
Is it
I
no? But I
if it's important to you, you can do whatever you want.
is it okay with you if I dug a bit of land?
Yeah.
Okay then. I will dig up a place that is just grass, no flowers or anything like that, and after that, just mark it with the mark of Bahamut and say a prayer. After that, I'm just gonna go back to Meshuda and see what happened to the armor.
Speaking of, she's actually pretty much done cleaning it. It seems pretty dry. She also looks like she's putting it on.
Meshuda, what the fuck are you doing?
She's not in the voice chat.
Let me type that. Oh, pretty flowers. And WTF are you doing? Pretty flowers. What the
Uh,
fuck are you doing, Mishuda? Why are you like this, Mishuda?
Quirky, and unlike the other lizard folk.
I mean, how tall was the body? I'm assuming it wasn't 7 feet tall.
it was really tall. Bit on the bulky side. She is really, really tall. Uh, it kind of fits her. It fits her. It's a little wide, but obviously it doesn't go the whole way down her torso or all the way down her arms. Just kind of like you can wear it by virtue of it being built for a little, like a thicker, more muscular person.
So from that, I conclude that it was probably male or a barbarian woman. I'm leaning toward male.
Somebody tough.
Somebody tough, somebody that could take a hit.
But not a bunch of birds to the face.
Apparently not, especially if you're dead.
Indeed.
Are they done with the meats?
Yeah, actually, the birds are done with the meat, and instead of just kind of squabbling or flying around, she kind of birds kind of like they're just slowly waddling around and feeling the green underneath their feet, kind of looking at it in confusion. A couple of the kids go up to a couple of the really prettier ones and just kind of like, spit it out.
That's not evil. Uh, Meshuda, this armor is familiar to me. I have seen it before. I believe we should hold on to it. She says more serious than she's ever spoken before. Oh, uh, take it off for now. Now I want to inspect it. As as I see this armor on her, are there any crest on it? Where are you?
There is no crest or large symbol on it. It's dwarf. I did say I would let you do it for other types of dwarven things. Make an investigation check with advantage because dwarves, even if you're not a smith yourself,
I
you
am.
building with stone and oh, you are a smith, so yes, you actually do get advantage.
Uh, Investigation. Here goes nothing. 19.
Uh, yeah. You kind of grab it and look over it. Um, let's see.
Just to clarify again, I'm looking for crest, signature
Yeah,
of the smith, or any in the identification of what this was for,
you
who
don't
it
see
was
any
for.
sort of like specific identification, or if you do, you don't notice it. Um, you kind of hold it and you notice that this is a breastplate largely, like just the breastplate part of a set of armor. Um, with a lot of leather straps and leather just pieces to help keep the front and back together and give it a little bit of flexibility. The metal itself of the breastplate is very. It's not the best. You've obviously seen better growing up in a dwarven community. It's well made and it has a very smooth design to the metal. Uh, Basically there's scratches and bite marks from the birds, and the mending kind of helped a little bit, but it's still like filled with pock marks. You kind of notice that the metal itself has like a very decidedly like swirly pattern to it. Like there's swirls and curves that kind of give it like an almost elegant look, maybe. But it's made in a very strange way that you're not used to. Definitely functional. It doesn't look half bad, but it's just very weird, unfamiliar.
When you say it has souls, do you mean like a
Yeah, the
Damascus
like the
seal,
no, not like that. I mean,
or
yeah, no,
is
not
it
like that. But like the
carved
metal
into
itself,
it?
like carved into like swirly shapes and like just that kind of curvature added to it. So again, like it gives it like a very sleek kind of look.
So it's not the metal
Um,
itself; it's the decoration that is soul.
yeah, the decoration, the way it's carved, the way it's forged specifically has a very swirly and sleek almost appearance.
Hold on. Let me ask Nick. Have you casted identify on it? Identify on it. I forgot the you. Have you? Have you casted identify on it? And if she hasn't, she must. If you have not, do it now. Has she casted identify on it? Nick is typing. Nick is typing. If this is like another fucking box, I'm going to be so pissed. Another 10 episodes just
I
for.
don't care if Monday's box, Tuesday's box, and Wednesday's box. Thursday, it's just more boxes. And Friday, why is it a box?
I mean, we spent like 8 episodes just looking for a fucking box.
It was like 5 or 6.
And still, it's
Okay.
too much. Do I have identify? Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Cast it then. Assuming he cast it, what did she found?
Will you cast Identify?
Will you cast identify? Do you know what the flowers are actually called in real life? They are
Real
pretty
life? That's an orchid.
pink orchid. I have not seen that before. That is really. Let's just show it for the audience. Uh, this is the flower. Really pretty. Surprisingly.
Are all of the flowers like that, or is it just like that one patch?
That's that one patch. You see other ones that are more red, others that are more white and yellow, and they're not like this is the only ones fully sprouted because you're physically close and touched them. The other ones are like just kind of like bulbs, very small bulbs. Some are larger than others. Just they're still slowly growing.
Nick asked what spell
Yes.
slot it is. That is going to be a first. Then yes.
Alrighty. Ishuda kind of like shrugs, casts identify.
And nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Seriously?
Your identify. Oh, hold on. I forgot I put it on the self roll. Let me make it a public roll. You choose an object that you must touch through the casting of the spell. If it is a magic item or some other magic imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement, and how many charges it has, if any. You learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it. It is not magical.
It's not magical, nothing special about it.
Just leather armor.
Metal armor, actually.
It is a breastplate with leather additions to kind of keep, the metal bits secured to the body and also give it some flexibility.
Would I be able to discern like if the leather is like unique in any way or if it's just basic?
If you would like to, like the leather specifically, make a nature check as you kind of like get closer and just kind of look at the specific leather bits.
I do have leatherworker's tools as well.
Yes, so you do have proficiency.
What's
I
up?
think. Let me double check how the skill things work with tools because I think there's something specific about it.
I can know the
Um,
leatherworker tools.
Proficiency with a set of artisan's tools lets you add your proficiency bonus to any ability checks you made with the craft. You gain added insight when studying leather items or clues related to them as you draw on your knowledge of leather to pick out details that others would overlook. So, there's a listed DC for determining a leather item's history. Okay, roll. I'd say. I mean, technically it says investigation, but because you're a druid, I'd let you use nature because you're proficient with leather working tools, so you know how leather work. You know how leather looks when it comes out of different animals. So, yeah, you can make a nature check on this.
Right. Didn't help. Wait.
Advantage.
Strategy
17.
plus 4, 8.
You have very little idea what this is actually. You look at it and you're like, it's leather. So you kind of think of like the animals that you've encountered, and you know just enough about the leatherworking process that you can kind of figure out what certain animals tend to look like when they're turned into leather. This doesn't look like any sort of leather you're used to working with or you're used to seeing. Like the kind of leather sold, the kind of animal leather sold in the various holds that you, in the hold of Anfaras that you've been to, doesn't look like this at all. This is a different type of creature entirely. Not
What
sure
about the creature we tried to skin?
which one was that.
The one that had like that, the wolf with a lot of spikes
Oh yes,
at the
the
beach.
very massive wolf skin that I think you took with you. Did you take the skin with you, or did you give up skinning it?
No, we gave up because we
Okay,
were about to
very
break
tough.
my sword.
Yep, it was about it was about a snap. You would have to make leather out of it to find out because you've never actually done that before. You feel like it might be a match because the creature itself is so unfamiliar. It's not anything you're used to.
Okay then, Mishuda, you are uh, you're oddly obsessive over this and serious. So I'm just gonna give it to you to keep. Just don't do anything stupid with it. And apparently she wants to put it on right in front of me and says, "Okay, do you mind turning around?" She says as she looks away shyly. And my response is, "Oh, you being shy. This is a first," and I walk away. To where actually, hold on. Let me summon my Wolfie. My
Oh,
wolf.
see.
Let me find this spell. spill. Fine steed. Rolly.
Best wolf.
Hey! Wildfire appears. I just give him a pat, give him a bit of my Russian jerky. Hey, buddy, how are you? What's up? You been good? Here, here, have like a little bit of jerky. Uh, I give him a little bit of pat on the head and, hey, buddy, do you want to go for a ride?
Tilts its head towards you.
Come on.
Lazily kind of wags its tail.
Sure, Ken.
I get on it
Hey, you
and
can speak with animals. It doesn't know that, so it's not saying anything, but it's just kind of like very much yes body language.
I just get on and I want to take cards with me with his mobiler because I don't want to go alone. And I will go to where the bird bus pointed, where there are tracks. Actually, you know what? I will take Sioda as well because he's going to be good at finding tracks. Actually, you know
Okay.
what? Let's just take the whole group. Don't want to leave Mishuda alone.
As Sio, that's just kind of sitting in the grass, just like, this is nice.
Like lost in thought when she sees Lou coming back up. It's like, what's the wolf for? What are you? Are you heading out somewhere?
Yeah, hop on. We are going to go where the tracks supposed to be. See what's going
Are
on.
we? Are we leaving the shells here?
Uh, actually, I didn't think about that. Let's just you and me go. Mishuda and Cuts can look after the shells. Do you want to turn into the spider or do you want to take a ride with me?
I mean, I'm fine to go like on this hunt, but what are you? Are you looking for the caravan that passed through?
I'm
Because
just
that was hours ago.
I'm just trying to find out where they came from or where they did go. We're not gonna go hunt them down. We have precious
Where did you come
cargo
from?
with
Where did you go?
ourselves. That's a really fine song to bring up right now. And it's stuck in my head. Thank you very much for that,
You're
DM.
welcome. You are
Uh,
very welcome.
we're just gonna see where they came from or where they did go. We're not gonna uh, go hunt them down because we have precious cargo with ourselves.
You're not gonna hunt them down, Cotton Eye Joe?
Oh, fuck you! It's not going to
All
leave
right.
my head forever, and I have a fucking class now.
I mean, I'm down to go, but I don't know why. Like, why does it matter?
Because it might be related to you and the box and the orb and all of that.
The box never dies.
The box never leaves this fucking. The box is the BBEG. I just know it.
Don't give me ideas.
A mimic that looks exactly like the box. Plot
I,
twist: Yoda was a mimic the whole time.
It's a mimic lich.
yeah, I
All
just
right, now what?
But yeah, I'll hop on. I don't really. I mean, okay. And Yoda will like climb onto the back of the wolf.
So Cops is just like, so you want to leave me here with the issue? Then we'll just make sure nothing happens.
Are you
if
worried
you
about it? If you're worried about it, I can leave somebody with you for a while ish.
Kind of shrugs. Like, I mean, I can do either.
Um, yeah, I'll cast use Wild Companion to do Find Familiar, and I'll go ahead and summon just if I could do like the one of the vultures as the familiar here, if that counts. Um,
Take the boss.
yeah, and I would ask the vulture to just circle around here, and if it finds anything that seems risky or dangerous in any way, come back to straight and direct him to where whatever the source of concern is.
Because if you the I mean seriously, take the boss. If you take the boss vulture, you have a whole flock of vultures.
I can have both. I mean, we'll talk to the boss vulture before we head out. I can have that too.
Or that we
We
just
can just
gave
have
them
the
a lot of
duel.
food, so maybe they will help us.
All right. So the vulture immediately kind of flies up slowly, begins to lazily flap. Unlike the spider, who the fae for the spider was very talkative, this one just kind of like, and flies off.
Strong and the silent type.
Uh, Kotz just kind of heads back and does a very slow perimeter, just kind of checking the houses. Because last time you didn't really go through the houses, so he just kind of like pokes his head through, takes a look at each of them, just kind of walks around.
Uh, okay.
So then we start heading out.
Okay.
My animal friendship spell should still be up because it lasts for 24 hours.
hmm
Yay.
It looks like it targets one creature. It only targets the one creature though, so the leader is still technically charmed by you.
Yeah, that's what's up.
So do I see him as we're heading out?
You did notice that the birds didn't actually leave as they were just kind of focusing on the grass. Most of them flew up onto the various roofs, and they're just kind of like wings closed. They're not falling asleep, but they're just kind of basking in the light.
Um, leader guy. Leader guy. Where you at?
Tilts its head towards you.
I never actually got your name and I feel like a bitch.
It shrugs. It's a
Okay,
name.
I actually asked his name. He said, "Don't have one."
that's cool. Okay. So shrugs. Would you be
Did you just
so
name him
kind?
Shrugs?
He shrugged.
That's awesome.
It raises both its wings in another exaggerated shrug.
Shrugs.
Um, favor to ask you, if you don't mind. We're about to head out. Would you be able to like just every now and then like do flybys and just see if everything looks okay and safe? And if it doesn't, if we could like harass one of my friends that's here and let them know if anything's wrong.
Opens his beak, about to say something, then closes his mouth.
Biggie,
And
hold on.
gives you one eye and kind of squints at you mischievously and just shrugs.
Sioda, I tell them
That's
if.
shrugs for you.
Yeah. That's really funny. Can we take him with us? Like, take Shrugs with us?
Shrugs
Uh.
has important shrug things to do.
Tell him if he does a good job, I will give him more meat.
Um, Lou, this guy here, said that if you do a pretty good job with it, or if you catch anything, or if you're just if you get good reviews, um, he
On
can like
Yelp.
make more. He can make more of that really crappy meatloaf stuff that you guys like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Thank you.
Flies up and circles, and then because the vulture is still circling a little higher, it's just kind of takes off more towards the east and starts making a much. You see, he almost disappears because of how small the birds actually are. But he does slowly glide off in that direction, and he seems to be making an absolutely massive circle, kind of lazily looking over the land.
Hmm. Seems the food was a good motivator.
A couple of the other birds fly towards him out of curiosity more than anything. But after a while, they kind of fly back, and then the rest of the flock just kind of stay on their perches.
We have
Ready
4
to go?
eyeballs in the sky. So yeah. Did you talk to Mishuda and Straight about it, right?
Yeah, we told Straits about it. Mishuda is going to do Mishuda, and we just need Straits to watch over Mishuda until we just go find out the direction and just come back. I don't think it's gonna take more than an hour, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at most. At worst case scenario, we're back before dark.
Mm. I would make the suggestion of once we have like a good couple of miles between us here and there, whenever we're ready to turn back, I can commune with nature and see if nature can find any people. Um,
Okay, that's a good
I
idea.
don't
Also,
anymore,
we have like a
but
sending stone with us that Mishuda made. So let's just take one of them with us. One of the
yeah,
brick phones.
there's only like two of them. Mishuda has the other, right?
Hmm. It's
I
a one
think
way,
Mishuda had
one use.
both of them. So we just
They
take.
she gave you one earlier on, I believe.
So yeah. Yeah. You have one of them. Mishuda has the other one. You have that sending stone. You can use that to communicate to if something happens. So
It's only
uh,
once per day, but it's a very handy item to have.
yeah, uh, I will let Mishuda know if something happens. He can call us with the break phone.
Okay.
After I
Um,
say that, I will leave with Sioda toward tracks. And can we actually end it here because I have a class?
I'm
About
fine with that.
two
I'm fine
minutes,
with that.
and also Nick is not here.
Hmm.
Again, it's up to the DM. I think you guys should have like 1 week that you go to sleep soon and not stay awake like in. We finish in like 1 a.m. most of the time.
Honestly, yeah. Um, I mean, I'm fine with that. It seems like a decent. Right. I mean, unless like I feel like it's technically it'd probably be better to do the little scouting thing, like now, unless you want to give Mashuda the option of coming whenever Nick's able to come next session or Nightshade.
If you'd like.
I don't know,
Well,
Yeah,
we
but
can at least follow. Let's do what you're doing right now as you head off in that direction. Let's at least
yeah,
do a little bit of that, and then we'll
yeah,
see
yeah.
if Nick comes up.
although
Making our way toward Bird Tracks, but you wanted to say something?
just for future reference, it might be handy to like let us know beforehand.
Yeah, it's just one of my teachers. It's not even a professor. I don't want to call him professor. He has this very bad habit of calling 1 hour before doing a class. So fuck him. It's like
I get you. Life happens.
it's 8 a.m. So I am happy we had this game because I usually wake up at 9 or 10, and at 7 in the fucking morning I'd get a WhatsApp app message that you will have class in 1 hour. Like fuck you.
I feel like you wouldn't be the only person who would have missed out on that. I feel like a lot of people would have slept through that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot of people that are absent. Let me just real quick because my girlfriend
TLDR,
eats.
teacher was bored.
Yeah, I have to message my girlfriend too because I'm pretty sure she is asleep.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get this out of the way
Yeah,
before you are like.
Alrighty. Well, nature checks because that is no. Wait. Survival checks because that's the tracking stat.
yep. That's why I brought Yoda because I'm shit at
Okay.
it.
You're not a wise paladin. You are just a paladin. Go ahead and roll, Lou.
Oh, I have to do it too. I thought that was just for one person.
Nope.
Survival.
So helping is
Survival.
usually like you're both working together, which this technically is. However, you're on a wolf moving fairly fast. You can't just be like, "Hey, look at this. What do you think of that?" No, it's like in the moment. Can you see anything?
Still better
You
than
don't
me.
see anything. You run out for about like a couple minutes. You get like a couple 100 feet away. You don't really see any tracks in the vicinity as you kind of look around. Again, tracks are hard to come by because any wind picks up and the ash gets goes flying. We don't have sandstorms, we have ash storms. So you don't see anything in the moment. Nothing really sticks out. And again, there I will say, because of Sioda's magic, there it actually makes this a little bit harder too, because now you actually see little shoots of grass and other more colorful plants. And it's actually making it harder to look for tracks because you're used to just looking at ash. So this is like distracting in a different way. And you get to appreciate the sheer scope of what she did because, like, this is a half-mile radius is huge. A lot of land is a lot of ash, a lot of gray, and is turned green. Not a lot of green, but there's green there, definitely.
How far have you come in like mileage terms?
So 1 mile is 5,280 feet. You've traveled a few hundred feet.
So
You wouldn't be dashing if you wanted to look for tracks. It's more like the wolf's kind of, it's not even going, it's kind of going mostly like full speed, like 30, 60 feet. It's 40 feet for a wolf. Or 50, whatever. It goes pretty fast, but even so, it's like, it's not going full speed because you're trying not to miss tracks. You're just trying to move quickly. See any signs?
I just pulled like some of the wolves hair. I didn't find anything, Siola. What about you?
I don't see anything off the top here. We probably missed something behind there.
Do you want to go back and forget about the trail, or do you want to maybe move on a bit? Then we go back. I say we just go for about another minute. If we don't find anything, just go back to the camp.
Okay.
Okay
Um,
then.
I could also transform into something and see if I can find something with different senses, but I
It's
don't know.
not that important to burn your spell slots on.
It's not a spell, it's just something I can do. But
Okay, then
I get what
that's
you're
gonna be helpful if you can do it, and it's not costly for you because
It
we
would be the
might.
last time I'm able to do it, but I think that we can, like, by the time we get back, I'll just be able to sleep.
Let's just not
Or
do
nap.
that. Let's not do that because this is like ashen waste. They call it waste for a reason. You have no idea what might happen when we are sleeping. And also,
Okay.
you just made the land uh, fertile again, so it might be like a beacon for a creature or people to come and cause trouble. Let's just move at maybe half speed. Maybe we can find tracks. If not, we're just gonna go back.
I mean, I can sleep while I'm transformed. If that makes any difference.
That's going to be. Yeah, let's do that. What are you going to transform in? To
Google the stat block. Yeah. Um, I would transform into an owl.
Okay.
Yeah, owl.
Mhm. All right.
Um,
That's where we'll leave off.
okay.
It turns into an owl and takes to the sky. But yes, thank you all for playing. I hope you enjoyed.
we
I did.
definitely enjoyed that. Thank you very much, DM. Thank you, Sioda, for playing, and thank you for watching, whoever you are,
Mm.
because
Faces the camera like on The Office.
uh,
Uh,
because I know some people are watching, and
just a
it
few.
just a few, but it's still a lot of people for us that we're just doing this for ourselves. This wasn't supposed to be for other people. It was supposed to be
I
for
mean, you
us.
recorded it.
You recorded it since day one.
I
That's on you, buddy.
no, I recorded it
You
for
uploaded it to Reddit, didn't you?
Did not.
I
did
thought he
not.
did. I thought you posted it somewhere.
No,
I was
it's
gonna say
no,
put it on YouTube.
Yeah, he put it on
it's
YouTube, but I thought he like linked it.
it's the I put it on YouTube because I wanted the videos to be somewhere that people can the people, I mean our party, can access easily, and
Mm.
the best option was YouTube. And in the process, somehow we got viewers, like 40 or 50 people watched our first video, and the videos I made for us to remember what the fuck happened on this roller coaster of a journey are actually getting views, which is really fascinating, much like this journey we are on. But anyways, thank you for watching, thank you for playing, thank you for letting us play, and I will see you next week. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye. Time for university.
All right.
On education.